Welcome to the MUFG Global Markets podcast with Ehsan Khoman, Head of Commodities, ESG and Emerging Markets Research EMEA. It's Friday, 15th November 2024, and in this week's podcast with Ehsan, we discuss the impact of the US elections on sustainable investment. The following podcast is intended for professional investors and eligible counterparties only, and not for retail clients. Any content should not be regarded as an offer to conduct investment business or an investment recommendation, but for information purposes only. Hi Ehsan, how are you today?
Hi Naznina, very well. And you?
I'm doing good, thank you. So Ehsan, the reverberations of the US elections on sustainable investment is increasingly top of mind for many market participants. Can you explain for our listeners where the complex stands now that the US elections are in the rearview mirror?
Thanks, Naznina. So yes, concerns about energy reliability, green premiums, and political polarization in recent months that have been magnified by the outcomes of the US presidential elections are raising questions about sustainable investing's ability to deliver both positive impacts as well as strong returns on investments. Now, taking a step back, investment performance and rates being key to fund flows, with the strongest period for sustainable inflows being most recently in 2020 and 2021, which came in the wake of robust performance by sustainable funds in 2018 and 19, while an accommodative rates backdrop helped to further augment performance and flows by boosting long duration growth stocks and demand for green infrastructure. Now, more challenging performance began in 2022, which has been followed by decelerating sustainable flows that have turned quite negative for the first time on net this year. Now, stemming from the US elections, a re-acceleration of inflation and rates from potential policy moves in the direction of trade tariffs, reduced taxes, and restricted immigration could indeed make the investment climate for green capex and long duration growth much more challenging. Now, as we look ahead, moves by investors towards some of the sustainable themes such as financial materiality, a broadened investable universe, and engagement over exclusions have the potential to augment performance and keep sustainable investing on solid ground, in our view, independent of the political order of the day, as well as certain narrowing in interpretations of fiduciary expectations. Now, with that said, there are certain likely implications to sustainability-related disclosure regulations that need to be borne in mind. Indeed, there is a risk that for a potential repeal of the US SEC climate-related disclosure rules that were passed in March of this year, which represents the first federal requirement in the US for both greenhouse gas disclosures and more general climate-related reporting for many US companies. Now, implementation was scheduled for 2026, but is now delayed until litigation concludes, but on net does face the risk of an eventual repeal from a potential GOP-controlled Congress and executive branch. Now, putting this into the broader context, Naznina, we would say that a repeal of the US SEC climate rule may be less material given the broader landscape of global sustainability disclosure regimes and the global outlook for the scope as well as the scale of corporate climate-related data disclosures, which is likely to remain unchanged should the SEC climate rule be repealed. But all in, Naznina, as investors seek greater clarity on links into financial performance on the one hand and stronger evidence of real-world impact on the other, we do see an emerging refocus on materiality-driven links to fundamentals, expansion of the investable universe, and greater corporate engagement that is, by and large, in our view, independent of the political order of the day, as well as certain narrowing in interpretations of fiduciary expectations.
Thank you for your insights, Ehsan. Speak to you again next time.
Thanks, Naznina. Talk to you soon.
Thank you for listening to this MUFG Global Markets podcast. Rate, review, and subscribe, and contact your MUFG sales rep for more information. Come back next week for more insights from the Global Markets research team.